doing your work and putting it in front of an audience, starting the work, finishing it, and presenting it is the most important education you can get.
I'm wondering if being an office temp for the 12 years that you did it and then doing the writing on the side or in free time fueled you, because if you'd had a more comfortable job where maybe money wasn't an option and trying to book work, maybe you would have given up on the screenwriting?
I don't think just personally, the way I'm built, I frequently gave up on jobs rather than have them interfere with what I thought was my career. But I do think that I think that life can really challenge people trying to be artists, that the demands of real life, it's hard. It is hard to build a way to get some time and to feel it's worth it when it's an abnormal thing to do. It's not, most people aren't doing it, and most people's lives don't require it. Most people have perfectly fine lives without writing a novel or a screenplay or doing, whatever it is that an artist wants to do. And I think it's important to recognize that you are doing something a little offbeat, and that the most important thing I think you can do is find a way to comfortably do it in the spaces you have to do it in, whatever they are. There are some people who would rather work for 6 months and then take 2 months off and have the 2 months to really work. And other people would rather work an hour a day or every other weekend or whatever it is. You have to look at yourself. You have to see what's productive for you. There's no right or wrong. The novelist Simenon, this French mystery novelist, thriller novelist, he used to write in intensely short bursts. He would plan out a novel, and then reportedly he had a separate house built in his backyard because he could. And he would go to this other house and he would not talk to his family. They would drop the meals at the front door. And for like 2 weeks, and he wrote short novels, he would be like, "Don't bother me, I'm writing." And he would go in, and then he would come out with a novel a couple weeks later, and then he would live his life. And then next time around, he would go back in. That's fine. There's other people who, just like me, office temping, half hour here, half an hour there at other people's desks. Or like I happen to be a morning person, so I would get up extra early and work in the morning before work. But don't discount the amount of pressure that real life puts on your art. And I would say the thing to do is adapt your art to fit that life. If you, I'm like throwing all these references around. The painter Matisse, when he got older, he couldn't stand at his easel and paint anymore. And he ended up doing these cutouts. He would take paper and cut out figures, and they became gorgeous artwork called the cutouts. There's a book called Jazz and a lot of other work. He stopped painting. He couldn't physically paint anymore. He shifted his creativity to something that he physically could do. That, I think, is a really good lesson for everyone. It's like, if you can't find the time to do it the way you think you should, like I thought I had to have an 8-hour free day with a lot of iced tea and music playing, and I found that it was better to write little tiny slices, even just a sentence or a paragraph. If you keep doing a sentence or a paragraph, you will eventually get whatever it is you need. If you wait till you have the whole day free, you may never. So that sort of is what I think you have to do in the face of that inevitable conflict. And that conflict even happens when you're a professional writer. I would run into the problem of, I'm working on a project, a show or a movie or something. I had a project I was dying to do, and sometimes I'd have to take a break from my writing job. So it's like my job was writing, but I had to stop to do a little indie film that I wanted to do. And so I didn't take work for as long as I could afford, and then I would go back to work. Everybody has this problem. The important thing is to really pay attention to what is productive for you. If that's writing a little bit at a time, if that's writing for short bursts, a lot, whatever works.
I just wasn't sure if however painful or maybe not so painful some of these temp jobs were? I know some temping can be great and some can be probably excruciating. Did that fuel you, the painful moments, to keep going? And also, too, you're around people that this is their life. They're like lifers at this company. And did you say, I don't want to be that guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's sort of, I mean, to a certain extent, this sounds horrible. I generally look around and say, I don't want to be that guy. So,
Oh, I see. Okay.
so what a
Just
terrible
going
thing
to the store,
admit.
yeah.
Yeah. But what it did do was inform me about all the parts of life that I didn't know, to find out what it's like to work in this type of place and that type of, I worked in a lot of different places. And in fact, the first novel I wrote was about a wannabe screenwriter who was an office temp. So I guarantee you nothing gets lost on an artist who's making his way in the world. You got to be absorbing all of it and writing it down.
How did you take control of your creative fate?
I think recognizing that the only thing an artist truly controls is the work itself. And that is not an original thought to me. Many far better artists have said it. You can't control whether your work sells, whether it is popular. Even people who have sold and had hits will find themselves doing something and it flops. That's just predictable that will happen. So if they can't control it, if they can't guarantee a hit, if they can't guarantee that people like it, how should we? There's no way for anyone to know how things are going to work out creatively. And the way that you become a happy artist and a productive artist is to give up worrying about it. You say, I am gambling. I am rolling the dice on this thing because I like it, because I think it's fun, because I think other people will like it. I think that's a big part of it, just saying, I am completing this because I want it complete. It has nothing to do with whether or not someone else will like it. You should, at the same time, adjust your expectations. If you are writing about a very obscure topic or in an obscure genre, then don't expect a big budget. One of the things I had to learn was, if I want to write something weird and offbeat, write it so that I can do it myself with a video camera and a couple of actors that I get together. Learn how to do things DIY. Learn how to, work within the limits that you can control, and then you're controlling your creative fate. And then if somebody likes it, great. If somebody doesn't like it, at least you did it. And you're more likely to do the next thing better from having completed work and put it out there and seeing the response. There is nothing like it for an artist to see people respond to your work. And it's one of the things that screenwriters get to do very infrequently. Most working screenwriters, most of their jobs, they don't get out to the public. A lot of people do drafts of things that don't get made. Now you do that less because most people are working on shows. When you work on a show, they don't hire you if they're not going to make it. But the experience of doing your work and putting it in front of an audience, starting the work, finishing it, and presenting it is the most important education you can get. There's nothing else that replaces it. So the more you can do that without asking someone's permission, without waiting till someone says, well, this will make me a lot of money, so I will invest in it. Because people don't put money into artworks because they like them. Mostly they put money into artworks because they think it'll make them more money. So if you do something that's good, but not profitable, you won't get to make it. It's better to do something that's good and can be made really, really cheaply, and then you can make it. Nobody can stop you. And if you don't feel like directing it yourself, somebody who does know how to work low budget will be able to make it.
So completing projects is very important to you, is it?
Completing the process, the artistic process, is the best education you can get. If you can write 10 scripts and finish them, and ideally at least get a reading of them, but really the best thing to do is to shoot them. Find a way to get someone to shoot your script. Make it shorts, whatever. That will teach you more than any other education about screenwriting. And if they're bad, so what? Do it in such a way that if you lose your money, it's not the end of the world.